Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of Let's Max Warframe. Well, the response on my Buzzlock video was amazing. Thank you all so very much for that. One of the things I saw repeatedly in the comments was requesting a video about another mechanically interesting weapon I missed when I did my shotgun reviews when they got buffed. And that was the Grineer flak cannon, the Drakgoon. Now, the Drakgoon is one of those shotguns a lot of people seem to forget existed, especially when the shotgun class is so dominated by the Hex series and the Tigris series. So what do you get from this mainly forgotten shotgun? Well, the base damage of 900 actually puts it 4th overall in the shotgun class, behind the always impressive Tigris series. With the majority, 720, comes in the form of slash, both 90 as impact and puncture. Now, the supplemental stats aren't too impressive though. 7.5% critical chance with 200 multiplier, not enough, it's not even close enough to be able to make a crit build out of that. And the status chance of just 10%, it's also not enough to make a status build out of it either. It does come with innate punch through on charge shots of 2 meters though, which is nice. And the shrapnel it fires will also ricochet once. Means that if you miss, you have a chance of it bouncing and killing another target, especially when you're in close quarters. Now, the main feature of the Drakgoon is its effective use of a dual fire mode for the weapon. You have a standard shot which will shoot out the shrapnel out the weapon in a really wide arc. It fires out 10 pellets with the ability to shred down entire groups of enemies if used in tight quarters. It gives this some really fantastic killing potential against factions like the Infested where you get swarmed a lot. Or you could use the charge shot. What this does is it focuses the Drakgoon. It narrows the firing arc of it and it gives it a much higher single target damage. Since with a charge shot, you will more than likely get all 10 pellets onto target for full damage, whereas you would never do that with the uncharged shot. The best thing about this though is that since the damage isn't directly affected by charging, you can actually do a partial charge, which will still focus the shot more. So a half charge would be half focused, so the spread is still going to be way tighter than if you weren't able to, or if you weren't going to use the charge at all. Now, the builds I have are focused around taking advantage of certain aspects of the weapon itself. The weapon does come with no polarities whatsoever as standard. I added 6 former, 3V, 3 dash, and it's able to fit everything I wanted to and have room for 2 different builds, plus a little bit of quality of life. Now, the first build is pretty much it's a cookie cutter straight elemental build, to be honest. Prime point blank Hell's Chamber, shotgun spaz for more fire rate, it also increases the charge speed. Sweeping Serration for slash damage. We've got Blaze on there for the fire damage, plus the additional damage that adds. And then we got 3 other 90% elemental mods. And that makes up, obviously, whatever elemental combination you want to be going for on here. The only thing I would possibly change about this build is changing out one of the 90% mods for a tactical pump for reload speed. And that one's going to be down to personal preference. In addition to that, though, you can also replace a 90% elemental mod for Fomorian Accelerant. It's one of the Rathum specific mods that can be picked up from the Kayla in the boss fight. What this does, it makes the shrapnel bounce an additional 4 times, plus increases the flight speed by 60%. Now this means that pellets that miss the target will have way more chance to bounce around and connect with things, boosting the damage output in confined spaces, since you're actually looking at having a lot less wasted shrapnel. Plus it makes hitting things at longer range easier, and it's a very solid mod, and it is one worth taking a look at. Second build is taking advantage of the tightness of the spread when the weapon is fully charged. Same basic mods, prime point, black Hell's Chamber, sweeping serrations, shotgun spaz. I have actually got tactical pump on here right now, but as with the first build, that could be a 90% elemental mod if you wanted more damage. Then we have Blaze, and one more additional 90% elemental mod. Finally, Tainted Shell. Now, Tainted Shell's not a mod that I use very often, to be honest. However, on this, when it's fully charged, you can effectively turn this into pretty much a charge-based sniper rifle without a scope. It's insane just how accurate this becomes at full charge. Landing every single one of those pellets pretty reliably gives a decent boost to the single target damage output of the weapon. But more than that, this also narrows the spread of the uncharged shot as well, giving a much tighter spread, meaning less wasted pellets from each of those uncharged shots. So, do I recommend taking the Drakgoon, whacking a load of former on there and maxing it out? It's kind of a tough one to call because it's going to depend on your playstyle, to be honest, but I do think it's worth it. Okay, it's not the strongest shotgun in the class, but it's still a pretty decent weapon. Whether you want to just spam an area full of shrapnel and rely on it shredding things, or whether you want to use the charge attack and give the one guy an extremely bad day, it's pretty damn effective. Although if you're going to use it for things like sorties, if you're going to go sortie level and above, I would rely on the charge attack way more than the spam, due to the fact that it's going to take much more damage to take down a single target. It's really going to come down in the end to whether or not you like weapons that require the charge to be effective at higher level or not. To the star chart, the uncharged spam is going to pretty much, more often than not, be effective enough to kill the majority of everything, with only the tougher stuff needing that charge shot to take down. But the thing about the Dragoon is, while the performance in the weapon, it's kind of questionable at the sortie level enemies, the one thing it does have in spades is entertainment. Taking something like, for example, Mirage, using your abilities, spamming the Dragoon in a corridor, watching all of the flak bounce around like mad, especially with Femora and Accelerant on there, the Dragoon is such a laugh to use. I've not used the weapon in a very, very long time. In fact, not since before the shotgun changes, I think. I missed this completely when I went back over things, and while this thing, it does lack the killing power of the Tigris or the Heck family, or the utility of the Strun Wraith or the Boar Prime, it has its own little niche. It's a shotgun that can effectively take out groups of enemies, while being able to be more focused to take down the tougher units. Used well, the Dragoon can be really effective, but it requires a lot more work to get the most out of it than most other shotguns. I am really glad you guys suggested this, that I checked this out, because it's been a blast to play around with it for once again. So I hope you enjoyed my look at the Dragoon since Shotgun 2.0. Apologies for missing it in the first place, but still, better late than never, right? Just so you guys know, I've been a regular on the Second Stream podcast. This is the official post-dev stream podcast. I will leave a link in the description below to that, where I appear on there. We've got Rob from Gay Guy Plays, we've got DKDMNCs, and Xeno Galleon. We're all talking about all things DevStream related, plus I actually raised the issue of Sentinel survivability a bit, so feel free to check that out. Suddenly Tenno, our own podcast, will be recorded today, so expect a podcast coming from the regular crew very, very soon. As always guys, many thanks for watching. Feel free to chuck us a like and subscribe for more gaming content, and I shall see you in the next video.